And you know, he's really like one of those players where you can depend on, making sure that you always have the flares up, you always have the vision up, and the way he executes it, he just plays with so much flair.
He plays with so much flair. You're killing me, Rome. But yes, he truly does. And I think, you know, he's one of those, if you guys, you know, you're playing Vainglory a lot, you get in these situations, we got an alpha coming out right here, but you get in these situations where you're like, dive me, bro. Like, you know, they want to dive you.
Bro.
And Lost Boy, he just seems to have the ability to get people to dive him when they shouldn't. And somehow he always comes out on top. Alpha, the last pick for Nemesis Hydra. Kinetic are going to round things out with the Fortress here. How do you like these compositions? Do you think either team really has an advantage here?
Well, the composition for the Kinetic side here, you know, you do have that Adagio buff composition with that Scarf. It doesn't work out too well in that early mid game, but they have a way to really protect Scarf in that late, especially with that slow coming out of Adagio versus Judgment coming out of him too. It makes things a lot easier for them, but then again, you have to deal with that Force Accord coming out of Finn, and then you have to deal with, you know, just Alpha trying to blow herself up.
Can you deal with Alpha trying to blow herself up? Can you dodge these Force Accords? Only time will tell. We've loaded into the Halcyon Fold, and with that, we toss it over to our casters. Shinyi and Forecourt Jester, take it away.
Well, it's certainly been a heck of a day of games, but we're not done yet. And Von C bringing us not only, you know, his new team, because Nemesis Hydra is a huge pickup for him, but at the same time, Alpha, this is a first for me, Shinji. I know you're just totally speechless about it as well, because like, who picks Alpha in these important matches?
Yeah. But you know, this is the second Alpha that we've seen so far. You know, if anyone watched the EU one, I know I'm talking about EU, but we saw Lemon and Lime pull it off, and it was quite successful. So, this is such a massive risk, as you've said, that they're taking, and they're just jumping straight into a fight.
Well, yeah, let's have a fight down there. Let's have Hardic dropping low as well. Sweet Generous, how did you actually not die right there? But the puppy will live forward, and now T-Tigers is coming down as well. Last point off on that Finn. Bonsi just goes straight forward and gets the kill anyways, though. But that is going to be it for Finn. He's out. Bonsi goes forward. He has that reboot, and I don't think we have enough damage here from Game Fizzle to take him down. He doesn't.
Well, nonetheless, that was a 2-for-1 trade-off. Very nice pickup there. You know, it was interesting seeing Sweet Generous on that. Sweet Generous? Which one is it? I'm not even sure. I've said both.
I believe it is the Sweet Generous. He is a generous Sweet.
Oh, I like...
That's how I remember it.
It's interesting seeing him in Fortress. Well, my impression was that he's always a bit more comfortable in Catherine. It seems to be his priority pick. And, you know, we're all very excited to see Gabe Fizzle here on the Adagio, who is doing a fantastic job of harassing. And what I think is very interesting to see is that Gabe Fizzle, when he was a roam mainer, is that he played Adagio a lot as a support. And it's interesting to see that transition into a jungle Adagio. Because, you know, he's making it very effective. He knows how to play Adagio, but obviously there's a, you know, this sub-alteration. Nice feminine squeaks there.
Well, Hardic is dead. He just, I got a story for you about Hardic, but like right now, it's all about the Generous, and he is going to drop. Von C does not have that infinite reboot this time, so it is the 2-for-1 return as Hammer's Kinetic crew, who, by the way, is a fantastic set of names. Coming into this, they really swapped up, and I think they really traded up them as well. Hardic, and I just got this from Playoff Beard, Hardic is apparently playing from the Philippines. He is playing on average of 250 MS right now.
Well, Nemesis is really going all out with the risk taking so far, to be honest. And I really like the draft. You know, sorry just to jump back a little bit, but if we went back to the draft, you know, we saw Hydra lock in that Finn first, and then we saw them, Kinetic directly counter them with that Scarf pick, who is a fantastic counter, and then we saw the Adagio coming out. It was just very interesting. You know, the drafting was very cerebral at that point.
We'll have to see if that will pay off. I mean, Lost Boy Top, Finn has traditionally won. Finn to win. That's kind of how that has always gone. And Lost Boy Top, I've seen him on Finn in some of these streams as of late, because Finn so far is just seems to be like head and shoulders above a lot of these other supports coming into this. But, you know, Sweet Generous there with that Fortress. If they can capitalize with, I have to say it's going to be, there's no weapon damage. What's going on? Is this actually double CP from Kinetic?
Looks like it, but you know, we just saw using his Prime Directive right in there.
All right, so I'm not gonna actually continue anything there, but Sweet Generous, I mean, he jumps forward, he's able to help make that kill, double kill coming out from the Adagio as well, and Von C is not gonna get that hit scan. He is just gonna choke down during that infinite reboot, and that will be, I think, the ace going forward. Yeah, that's definitely gonna be the ace. The regen kicking in as Kinetic are able to get that series under their belt, and now 6-3 for kills. They're gonna be pressuring this turret very hard, and the original thought was, Sweet Generous, you know, Fortress, we've seen a lot of Fortress because of the bleeds. We don't have auto attack damage to go with the bleeds, but we do got Adagio.
That's true, and Adagio's doing a very good job of killing Hardek right now.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, like that leg could be a huge detriment coming into Nemesis Hydra. And like, what's the reasoning behind Alpha? I really have to wonder. Like, jumping into this, that's a lot of damage. I mean, he's gonna have to eat if he can't land. Especially with that suicide ultimate a little bit later on.
Yeah, well, you know, Von C's quite well known for playing he's been trying a lot on stream, so he's been obviously practicing the alpha, but it is intriguing to see this being picked, and it's also intriguing to see them being so aggressive with an alpha who's very typically known for having quite a weak early game, particularly in the first 5 minutes, and we can see that already. We've seen Kinetic win an ace within 4 minutes. They've already taken a turret. This is probably one of the fastest paced games that we've seen tonight, and I just don't like the aggression that we're seeing coming. I feel like they should play a little bit more conservatively.
Well, they might just have to, because at a score of 7-3, there's a difference of 2,000 gold between these teams. So 2,000 gold in 5 minutes, I mean, it's not a record, but it's definitely starting that slope up the mountain, and if they continue to give away like kills like this, it's just going to become, you know, borderline impossible by late game.
Yeah, and I like the double shield that, you know, not the double shield, the double crystal that we're seeing coming out from both sides. It is intriguing to see Von C with that light armor. Not really much use for him to have, to be honest, against a double crystal. So not very sure why he has that there, to be honest.
It's all about Sweet Jenner. Totally.
Yes.
100%. You got to fear the wolf. Because he does have the law of the claw and the attack of the pack and everything else that has good alliteration. But Von C goes in again. He does have that level 6 this round, but I don't actually see him casting it yet. Is he going to wait? Yeah, there it is. The termination protocol is just going to blow up. But again, there is so much range damage, and he is not going to be able to go anywhere with that infinite reboot. So if he can't get these kills, he's a sitting duck. Hardek is just unfortunately not really part of these fights, and that fight by itself was not even level 6s here for Nemesis Hydra.
Yeah, very aggressive showing coming out from all of them. And I think the one mistake, well, not even a mistake, well, the advantage that Kinetic had was that they had a fountain. They had a very early fountain coming out from Sui Generis, and that was what swung the fight for them. By having that fountain, they were able to keep alive for a little bit longer. We saw Alpha kind of stuck in the goop there while they're rebooting, just dying to T-Tigers on his scarf.
And T-Tigers, I was really introduced to him back at the Autumn Live Championships, back at NA, back at Esports Arena. But T-Tigers, man, like, he is such an impressive player, especially in that lane. And picking up this scarf, I mean, so far he's done really well. 53 last hits to the 41 there of Hardek and a few kills. Well, 1 kill under his belt, but 100% kill participation. Like, this is like Kinetic, Velocity, like a really dynamic duo set of teams here in the qualifiers.
Yeah, like you said, T-Tigers is such an amazing pickup there, but I think in the jungle we're seeing some trouble there for Von C.
He has that termination protocol, but I mean, I just don't think it's worth using it. At the same time, it does look like we lost out the Vox, because back in lane, you know, Lost Boy Top's doing with that 2v1. Von C is going to finally get that health restored from that infinite reboot, but now does he actually have what it takes to take down Tigers? Not even close.
No, but this is a very impressive debut for Gabe Vizzle on stream. I believe this is the first game that we're seeing of him playing in the VGL live, so I'm sure this is very exciting. As we all know, he was the main support player for Gangstar Sirius, transitioning now into a jungle and doing very well, making it all the way to the quarterfinals at the very least. Now,
Gangstar Sirius is still in this tournament. We're going to see them again tomorrow, but you know, after such a hit of losing Cold Meek and then Gabe Vizzle only leaving Iraqi Zoro, I had doubts about them. But you're right. I mean, Gabe Vizzle is definitely one of the bigger things that you're going to be looking at on this team, because he's no longer that support. And so far, he's really hitting home. 7-0-2 with Adagio. I mean, that's monstrous here at 8 minutes in.
Definitely, and the interesting thing is that Rome said that he was a very conservative player. He was quite a conservative player as a roamer, and it's been kind of seen that he's been quite conservative, but not in this game. He's been very aggressive this game, and they're just continually taking the advantage, and Von C was just annihilated like that.
Yeah, now it's a hard reboot as he has a death timer to contend with. So no infinite this round. Hardek, of course, he's level 6 at the same time. Lost Boy level 6, but look at Gabe is level 9. T-Tiger's is level 8. The poke is absolutely just destroying them, and that is how many turrets in 8 minutes. We are down to just the crystal turrets.
I think this is the most one-sided game we've seen all night. And it's just,
Yep,
this
I'll
is
give
the
you
game. Yeah, this is definitely. And this is the matchup we thought was going to be the closest. This is the matchup a lot of people were really excited for. And to be honest, this is not what any of us were expecting.
Gotta shake off that rust, guys. Just pulling a Gankstars. It's all good. Game number 1 might not go so well, but by the time you get into game number 2, you gotta hope that your mentality and your fingers are warmed up, the team speak is cleared, and you're ready to roll, because with a decent gold payout on top of this, you're looking at 6,000 gold between teams.
And at 9 minutes, that's a very considerable gold lead there. And if you look at the itemization coming out from from Kinetic T-Tigers, he's got that broken myth already. He's got a reflex block. He's got a heavy prism. He is dealing quite a lot at 9 minutes. And Gabe Vizzle there, interesting hero to pick and draft, I guess. Especially when you're playing Adagio, you'd expect a weapon carry. But it's been working out very well from them because they've actually been able to take the very early game advantage.
I like the fact that T-Tigers actually has that reflex block this early. That has been something we've repeatedly not seen happening.
Yeah, it's really nice. And, Hardek's the only one on Nemesis there with the reflex block as well. So it's quite nice to see all these reflex blocks coming out. And as we said earlier, he is playing from the Philippines with lag. I don't know how easy it is going to be for him to block specific skills. And I don't know if that's affecting how this game is going, how much it's affecting this game.
Well, they're down 3 turrets, and he's at 1 and 4. I would venture a guess that it's definitely affecting him. The team just looks so disorganized as well. I mean, Von C has been caught out repeatedly as well. He's at 2 and 5. Hardek has just been pushed back and back and back. His last hits are not that really that suffering, but at the same time, it just doesn't feel like the Nemesis Hydra team that a lot of people I think were expecting.
Yeah, definitely agree with you there. I think it all started at a very early aggression we saw coming out from Von C in the jungle. Alpha is very weak in the first few minutes, and I think just they really got punished for their aggression early, and we just saw it kind of turned onto their heads, and we saw the counter aggression coming out from Kinetic, and that is just absolutely dominating. Like you said, 10 minutes or 11 minutes, and they're only left at their 2 turrets. Kinetic are just looking in such a good position right now.
Well, 11 minutes means we still have a good amount of time before Helga decides to call it a day and head on home from the office, but do we even need to wait for the Kraken at this point? 11 minutes in, we've now broken that chokehold. There are a few there's a few scout traps out and about, but that turret is almost already dead. Now that's gonna be a forced record, but finally a kill. Scarf is gonna go down. This actually could be what we need here from Nemesis Hydra. The second kill there for the Fox as well, and the Alpha will finally pick up one there on top of it. But is this too little too late? Will this be the comeback? That one turret just does not look at all like it's going to be standing for too much longer.
Yeah, I have a feeling this is just a case of prolonging the game rather than a comeback at this point. There was a very nice chaining of Quibble, and then we saw Hardek using his wait for at that point, and it was a very nice, we saw the sun and the silence together was exactly what they needed, but I just don't think it's enough. The gold lead is narrowing, but when they're so behind on turrets, I don't see this making it much further, to be honest. And that's quite a harsh criticism at this point, I realize.
3 minutes to go until Helga makes her appearance. We do got everyone back in town. T-Tigers and crew have made their way here to the middle. In terms of gold, to make 3,000, that's definitely going to be taking the edge off for sure. But Adagio just picked up a weapon infusion. He has that broken myth. We got double broken myth ready to go. 3,000 gold compared to the 3,200 of Lost Boys. So Lost Boys actually not really, it doesn't feel like he's that starved. But in another immense gold payout going into the coffers here of Kinetic, it's not getting any better anytime soon.
Yeah, and I think one thing I would like to see happening on Kinetic side is them picking up more shield. We see Nemesis having a lot of shield. Hardek's there got the Kinetic shield, Vonti with the light shield, and already a fountain. They are very prepared for this double crystal comp, and I just feel like Kinetic started off with this amazing advantage and are just not preparing themselves for the late game at this point.
Well, if Kinetic doesn't take this next fight, then I'm definitely going to be putting a little bit more emphasis on the fact that perhaps this comp has run its course. But man, it's really hard to imagine without a 3-man forced accord or even a 2-man forced accord that Nemesis Hydra could even get an angle on top of this double ranged carry.
And this is definitely one of the more unusual games that we've seen tonight. We've got this Adagio Scarf combo, and we have this Alpha that we're just absolutely in shock of. It's been an interesting game. I'm just going to harp on and on about how this game is just so different and unexpected. But we're just seeing these engages coming out from Tigers. They're infused. I think they're ready for a team fight. Vonsi taking a bit of damage there, actually.
All right, so some flares going out, still a few scout traps just here and there. Von C is he actually going to be the guy that they're going to be trying to chase down? Well, he's the one that got hit by the Spitfire, but you can see, Sweet Generous, he's there. He got the puppies now. Von C is definitely going to be the big target. He does get the Terminal Protocol out, and he explodes on top of Gabe Fizzle. Is that enough for a kill? Gabe's just going to use that first, and well, all right, that is definitely not going to be working out whatsoever for Nemesis. They just all drop one after another. I don't see them coming back out of this.
Yeah, no question there. When we saw Gabe Bizzle starting his Verse of Judgment, there was no blocks coming out for them, and they just got absolutely demolished at this point. We saw a nice Prime Directive and coming out from Vonsi there, trying to get to T-Tigers, but just wasn't quite enough. Halcyon Hammer's Kinetic, they've already got such a strong lead already at this point, and that's game.
Well, I heard that there was a myth that a Kraken existed here on top of the fold, but I only see a gold miner. That is a sub 15-minute win, as Nemesis Hydra just do not hold a candle to this new Kinetic crew. T-Tigers, Sweet Generous, and Gabe Vizzle really bringing the heat in the fastest game today. And I gotta say, just really strong stuff coming out of them, Jimmy.
Yeah, Gabe Bizzle looking better than ever. I think a lot of people had kind of questions like, how will he do as jungler? How difficult is it for him to transition from this role of support, especially on such a strong team, into jungler? And I've got to say, he's performed exceptionally well today. He's got a score of 815, the best KDA in this whole game so far out of all the players.
Well, there's something to be said about Alpha and his late game, or her late game, I should say. Unfortunately, if you can't even get to the 15-minute mark, I just don't think you get a late game, and that's exactly what Kinetic said. So, not entirely too sure what Nemesis Hydra wants to swap up, if Hardek will continue on playing, if they're going to be bringing in their sub, if Vonsi will once again show us an alpha. But, as we are going to be taking a quick break here in the fold, we're going to give it back to the desk for the second game of the season.